start with security matters. We start with the Interior Minister, Muntaka Mubarak. Now, he has been briefing the press on findings in a report on election-related violence for the year 2020 and 2024. Let's take you there for more.
Force is required for crowd control. The use of military in crowd control activity should cease if death resulting from high-handedness of state security are to be avoided. Police and sister security agencies should design, ahead of election, a well-coordinated plan on election security management. There should be controlled use of military. There should be controlled use of live ammunition from lethal weapons as a means of scaring or driving crowd from particular location. Capacity building is recommended for police and all arm-bearing security agencies whenever required for election security or crowd control duties. Compensation should be paid to the injured and to the family of the late Ibrahim Abbas. The action that we have taken since the report came is to forward that to the Attorney General for compensation of both the deceased family and those who got injured. The docket is also forwarded to the cold case unit of the CID, since that soldier or the one in the uniform has still not been identified. The Banda Ahipro, that's in the Bunu region. Taking into consideration the advice from the Attorney General's office, the task force recommend the following. The investigation continues even though the township are not willing to give information because of the rivalry between the two towns of Banda Ahipro and Banda Bonkazi, but the docket should be forwarded to the cold case unit. The monetary compensation should be paid to the family of the late Silas Wolankami. Report forwarded to the AG for compensation to the deceased family. Doma West constituency, that's in Krankwanta. This was also violence resulting from the 2020 voter registration mop-up exercise. The task force recommends that the supporters of both NDC and MPP who converged at the voter registration center near the district assembly premises on August 8, 2020 were engaged in riot. They were, however, not attacking the police or security personnel at the center. The use of live ammunition to disperse the riotous crowd by the police was inappropriate and does not conform to any laid-down crowd control method. No police officer or security detail at the registration center was under attack for his or her life to be in immediate danger. The task force therefore recommends that the family of the deceased, Kofi Robert alias Kofi Labet, be compensated. Victims, Eliasu Gabriel and Kwame Gatan, should also be compensated based on the extent of injury suffered as a result of what appears on their medical report form. Savulgu constituency in the Savulgu northern region. The observation of the task force is that there was no confrontation between MPP and NDC supporters before the shot was fired into the crowd. However, NDC supporters were jubilating and firing gunshots and throwing firecrackers. Again, it was established without doubt that the bullet that killed the deceased, Samira Zakaria, was a shot from a high-velocity rifle. The same bullet also caused injuries to other 3 persons. There are 2 possibilities. The first is that the shot must have been fired into the crowd by one of the persons who were jubilating deliberately or accidentally. And the second alternative is that someone with the intention to kill or injure the jubilants infiltrated into the jubilation crowd and fired the fatal shot. The task force recommends that the family of the deceased be compensated for their loss. The 3 other injured persons should also be compensated based on their medical report and for pain and loss suffered as a result of their injuries. And here again, because as they couldn't establish exactly who fired the shot, the docket is also returned to the cold case unit of the Ghana Police Service for further of future investigation, of further investigation. So 2024 election violence cases, starting with Ewutu Senya East Constituency, that's Kaswa. The task force observed that the Honorable Phyllis now Koyo Okeno denied that her convoy was attacked. She was nowhere near the scene of the incident. Persons who were involved in the incident have avoided speaking with the task force, while Muhammad Ali and others who were in the Mahindra pickup truck and fired shots from their vehicle have also avoided speaking with the task force. So their opinion have not been established. Muhammad Ali is said to have been flown abroad for further treatment. The late Yusuf Larry Idris died from a gunshot, and those who were in the Mahindra pickup with him know what happened. The driver of the Mahindra has been traced, and further investigation is ongoing. The task force will continue with the investigation. Tolong constituency, that's Yankala. The observation of the task force is that there is the presence of sophisticated weapons in the Tolong and Nampala communities, and the level of sophistication is a matter of pride among the youth in particular. Money was distributed on the UDS campus for vote buying on the said election day, that's 2024. The allegation of vote buying was not reported to the EC officials or the security agencies. Security response to the violence was very swift and decisive. Suspect Alhaji Yakubu Abdul Latif Kopshi and Sankara led a team of armed men to Yankala and engaged in indiscriminate firing of guns, during which the late Shaibu Haruna was killed and 5 others were injured. The task force recommends that suspects Alhaji Yakubu Abdul Latif Kopshi are being the National Small Arms Commission, other state authorities and traditional leaders should sensitize the members of the two communities of Tolong and Yampala on the dangers associated with the kind of weapons being held by individuals and the right channel to follow when offended by others. Since the investigation did not produce any evidence against the 6 persons arrested by police during the stop and search exercise conducted immediately after the incident, they should be discharged while efforts are directed at arresting those who actually engaged in the firing. The regional police commander should engage the district officer, the PID director, and officers in the region to assist in the arrest of the suspect, Alhaji Yakubu Abdul Latif Kopshi, and his gang in order to hasten prosecution. The report has been forwarded to the AG for the compensation to the deceased family and the injured. Damango constituency, Damango, the observation of the task force.
Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Now, we apologize, we have to truncate that because it's a good time to take you to Parliament. Some key issues have come up about the alleged involvement of the Esutifi MP in the mobilization of thugs to impede the work of diners in his constituency. It has come up on the floor of Parliament. The minority leader is currently on the floor. Let's take you there live.
Filling reports in the various hospitals enough. So it's like business as usual. Mr. Speaker, I would wait for another day where we would discuss this matter in detail. But I would, by way of conclusion, say that the issue of Galamsey calls for action, collective, not an NDC MPP affair, but a Ghana affair. So that it doesn't become like who you go to the area the people are mining, and then you say, oh, because you may lose election, you don't want to talk about it, or they will even push you to be lawless, all in the interest of votes that would end up in a coffin. Do we want to be burying people every weekend and all. Mr. Speaker, let me leave the rest for the Leader of the House to put out for the records, and pray that that time will come for us to have a full discussion on this matter and send a strong message to the nation that enough is enough with the partisan approach on this Galamsey matter. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the treasure space.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I listened to you carefully, and I thought what I heard was a formal communication on the question of the privileges of members of Parliament. And I am hoping that our brief comments would focus on the question of privileges. I think what I heard you say is that you will not shield any member of this House when they are alleged to have committed offenses and the law enforcement agencies are seeking to investigate and establish whether indeed a crime has been committed for the purposes of being prosecuted or held accountable in any other form, shape, or manner. And you zeroed in on the specific instance of the alleged attack on the anti-Galamsey task force. We all heard in the media that there was an attack on an anti-Galamsey task force in Esitufi South, and I later got some indication that a member on this side of the House is alleged to have instigated some community members to resist the work of the task force. Mr. Speaker, let me indicate that yesterday I got a call from the Minister for the Interior, Honorable Muntaka, that the IGP needed the member for interrogation. I invited the member, he came to my office, and I was trying to reach Muntaka, I couldn't reach him, so ultimately I had to ask the member to go. If I reach Muntaka, I will call him back. Subsequently, Honorable Muntaka called me back. He was in a meeting when I was calling him. And I told him that I had invited the MP. He was ready to come see whoever he should see, but because we did not hear from him, I had dismissed him. So we scheduled that this morning the member should be sent to the CID headquarters to meet with one of the deputy CID directors for processing. And so this morning, he went with our majority chief whip and his lawyer. They received him at CID headquarters, took him through the processes, and I received a call not quite long ago that he has been taken to court, and as we speak, he is actually in court being arraigned. And so let me also indicate that as members of Parliament, we do not consider ourselves being above the law, that we are always ready to be held accountable for our actions and inactions. We passed the law establishing the law enforcement agencies. We approve the appropriations to finance them to carry out these assignments that we have assigned them. And we pass the laws defining the crimes, and also we invite them to this House, and we often try to hold them accountable for the extent to which they are enforcing the law. So we as members of Parliament will not in any way, I believe, go out of our way deliberately to hamper the law enforcement agencies in the discharge of their duties. And I believe, I speak for all my colleagues, that at any time when any of us is alleged to have committed an offense, we will own up and we will be ready to defend ourselves and establish our innocence. And so, Mr. Speaker, just to assure you that MPs will do well to conduct themselves and Mr. Speaker, we will not be calling on you to shield us in any way. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, what I know is that the honorable member has flatly denied the allegations made of he instigating some community members against the law enforcement agencies, the military and the police. And I also got a call from the senior member that you alluded to, Honorable Collins Dauda. He called me from South Africa, and indeed, he was very surprised because it happened in his constituency, and he was very surprised about the report that the media has put out there about what really happened. He was also of the firm belief that the report that he received is consistent with the claims being made by the Honorable Member of Parliament that he never instigated members of the communities against the law enforcement agencies. Be that as it may, he's handed himself over to the police, he's been taken to court, and Mr. Speaker, we are ready to go through all the legal processes. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, what I did was a formal communication by me on a reported attack on a team of National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat. It is not a formal communication on privileges and immunities. That was just in passing that I mentioned privileges and immunities. But as I said, those are not absolute. Honourable members, they are being investigated. They've not been convicted. And so we just want to erase the impression or perception that members are always being shielded from the due process of the law. You all know that we've never done that. It's just that because you hold some positions, just like the police, that's why I refer to the police too. That's why you refer to even the judiciary. They all enjoy some of these protections by the law. So the fact that you enjoy a protection doesn't mean you are above the law. That's just what I want to expatiate on and clarify, so that we don't all go under that cloud that the Speaker is always protecting members of Parliament from the due process of the law. I want to thank leaders for their comments, and then we proceed on to item 6. But before we do that, let me acknowledge the presence of our visitors. We have visitors from 3 institutions. The first is from Abra Asebu Kwamankese. There are 60 in number, and they come from the Abakrempa Senior High Technical School. They are led by the Assistant Head of Academics, Mr. Michael Kwajo Edua. Please, honorable members, You can see them at the public gallery on the left side of the Speaker. And on your behalf, I want to warmly welcome them to the House and to thank them for taking their time to come and see what we do here. And I believe they will also learn a bit from the visit, in spite of their very tender ages. This is one of the processes we set in place. It's in motion to capture them young, so that in future, as I keep on saying, they will perform better than this. So you are most welcome. You may now resume your seats. The second group is from the Heritage Christian University, and they are coming from Amasaman, 13 in number. They are led by the Speaker of the SRC group. I told you people I have colleagues all over the country. So today one is here. He's the Speaker of the SRC group. And so you see the fire is catching on. So many areas are forming parliaments and having speakers. And it's something that you should all encourage and support. The leader is Mr. Hope Huze, and they are also at the left side of the Speaker. You are most welcome, and this is your house. Anytime you get the opportunity, you can even come as an individual, not as a group, so that together we share the commitment to make sure that democracy is entrenched in our system of governance. You are most welcome.
Well, just key happenings in Parliament. If you just tuned in, the Speaker of Parliament as well as the minority and majority leader have been speaking about the alleged mob attack on NIMOS officials that happened in Esutifi in Fidium. The concerns that have been raised, really, the Speaker has made it clear that he will not shield any member of Parliament, even as police commences investigations into what transpired on that fateful day. We know so far that there has been conflicting accounts, really, both from the Ghana Police Service and the Member of Parliament for Esutifi North, Ebenezer. They seem to have conflicting accounts as to what exactly happened, while the police preliminary investigation points to the fact that the Member of Parliament for the area incited the mob to attack NIMOS officials. The Member of Parliament has since released a statement denying that. Today we know that he was invited to the police CID, as well as the Member of Parliament for Esutifi South, who is Collins Dauda. They've all been invited by the police CID just to give updates on this as the police is looking into the issue. The Speaker of Parliament says he will not shield any Member of Parliament, especially because of the concerns that members of Parliament are immune, and when things like this happen, they're most likely to hide under the umbrella of the Speaker. But he's telling us that he will not shield any of them. We've also heard from the minority and the majority members of Parliament their take on this. We'll be exploring this further because key things have come up in the Public Accounts Committee sitting today, all about mining licenses. Illegal mining is something we'll be tackling for the first 1 hour of the show. So please stay with us. We'll be back after this quick turn.